Obviously, after any loss, it's tough. So this one's no different. Really haven't questioned our guys' approach, and really after week one, I felt like our guys have competed with great effort and battled, and so that's the expectation. I mean, so I'm proud of that. That was another good football game. We came off the wrong side of it, 2 back-to-back weeks here at home, getting beat by 1 and then getting beat by 3. So that's what we got to find, what those inches are, and playing really good teams, playing the schedule that we do. There's really no margin for error, and that's a really good team that's got a chance of winning another national championship, and really battled them pretty good. But we've got to find whatever that other possession is. There just wasn't a lot of possessions in that football game. They snapped it 48 times for 229 yards. That's winning defense. There's going to be some crucial plays in there on both sides of the ball that, shoulda, woulda, coulda. But we just, early in the first half, we were moving the ball, but just not finding that explosive play to get down into the red zone. So, three trips to the red zone, scored twice, kicked a field goal once, but we needed a couple more trips.
Looking back on it, you mentioned that field position in the first half kind of worked against you too. You were always driving those 85-yard fields too.
Yeah, no, it was tough, and it's tough to do against the best defense, statistically in the country, when they pin you back on the returns. We had our first return. They punt us and pinned us down there. I was proud. Each time, I think the only 3 and out we had was there in the second half. I think we had 3 possessions in the second half. We scored on 2 and went 3 and out on 1. And so, that's the type of game that you have to have. You have to trust both sides of the football. You got to play good defense to get the ball back. The first 2 punts were probably, disappointing as well, because we get it around midfield, and then we only kick it down to the 21. Those are ones that we've got to be able to pin them back, inside the 10. And then we had another one, and we shanked the punt and gave them good field position. Little things like that, hurt. And so, but again, we got to find a way to find a couple explosive plays in there. In the first half, offensively, felt like we played really good. When you look at any stat sheet, defensively, like I said, we had the ball for 33 minutes. They had it for 26. Both of us we were 8 of 17 and 3 for 3 on third down and 3 for 3 on fourth down. That was a huge emphasis for us, is beating them in the conversion downs. They were 6 of 12. So both of us, around 50%, and won the time of possession, and then they just, were able to score 3 times, and we had to kick 1 field goal.
And you talked about the conversion downs. They hit a couple of 3rd and 12s in critical spots on their scoring drives in the second half. Looking back on that, how crucial was that?
Yeah, no, those were tough. That series of events right there really swung kind of the game, because we never got the ball back. We went and scored. We stopped them on their opening drive, and they decided not to go for it on the 4th and short, and we really wanted to make them pay for doing that. And then we go down and really have a solid drive, and Jacob Garrett punches it in. We take the lead, and then we kick the ball off, and we pin them inside the 15-yard line. And then the series of events of 2 penalties on that play, the targeting and then the unsportsmanlike. So we give them 30 yards from right there. It was tough, and then they go down and score, and we couldn't get off the field. But I think they would probably say the same thing on a couple plays that Nick made on the 3rd and 12, and then the 4th and 20. We don't score if we don't pick those up as well. So it was 2 good teams battling. I've said that several times this year, and so we've got to find a way to be on the other end of it.
Knowing what you guys knew coming in today about the playoffs and all that stuff, and knowing that kind of like last year, your goals were right in front of you: win today, win next week, and you'd be in. But what happens now that you can't control your own playoff fate?
It doesn't really change if you're you're 0-1 or 0-2 and the loss against SEMO, and I mean, like I tell them, I mean, we have a job to do just like you guys do. You know, you have a bad episode on camera, you got to show up the next day and go back at it. You know what I mean? You write a bad article, you got to show back up and learn from your mistakes, and you got a job to do. We all have a job to do. So that doesn't really affect us, no matter what our record is. We all here represent this school, this university, this program. You show up every single day ready to work, ready to grow, get better until they tell you your season's over. That's the mentality.
Yeah, some of the players were saying that after what happened, you know, this series of events, one player said it sucks, another player says it stings. What did you as a coach tell them to keep their heads high, knowing there's still one game left, regardless that, you know, you have to see what happens come next Saturday?
Yeah, no, I mean, my message in the locker room was pretty short. I mean, there's not much to talk to them about. Number one, that I'm proud of them. I tell them that all the time. They competed their tails off. That's a good team. That's, you know, their record and what they've accomplished over the last decade is really unmatched at any level of college football. Alabama kind of close, but not what they've done with 8 national championships. So, you know, when you look back and see the teams that have beat them, which is very few, you know, less than 10 in a decade, and the amount of close one-possession games that they have is right around that number too. And so, yeah, we'll have the same mentality next week, and it's about coming out of here and finishing the season 6-5, finishing this thing the right way. We got to go on the road. So, I mean, I think at this point, how your program is, how you are, the culture that you have, you don't have to worry about not playing the game the right way. I mean, our guys enjoy playing. When you play this game, it's you know, it's a blessing to be able to play, and you only get so many times. You know, this is the only sport that you get 11 days out of the year. So if you're not excited to suit up and play this game because you just have a short time to do it, I'm not worried about that. We'll show up ready to roll next Saturday.
Anything else for Coach?
So you mentioned, you know, save for that first and last drive, the defense really picked you guys up today. You know, you had Baker's interception and then immediately a 3-and-out. Your defense seemed to really, you know, help your other units. You know, you had the punt where the defense stood strong and didn't let that affect you guys. So how big were they today?
No, they were huge. That's what I said. I mean, you look at the stat sheet and, you know, 48 plays for 229 yards. I mean, it's a winning formula against those guys. I mean, we've talked about that all the time, is when you're a defensive player, you can't let the situations of the game dictate how you're going to go out and play that series. You know, that's what you are. You're a defense. You've got to get your team out of trouble. Sometimes it's whether it's a bad interception or maybe somebody, whatever the circumstances are, you get called to duty and you've got to go out there and do it. And when you play winning football, things like that happen. You know, the interception, the punt. I mean, we did the things, you know, going into the game that we needed to do to win. We just really came up really a possession short. You know, whether it's them making a mistake, getting a turnover of their own. You know, they didn't turn the football over. We had the one. So, but yeah, I'm proud of their effort.
Jacob, just kind of some basic thoughts on the game from your perspective. What did you think happened out there?
I thought our guys fought hard. You know, I thought we put it all on the line, and I mean, we were giving effort to the last whistle there. So you know, I think we ultimately came up short. You know, we just need to be able to finish those games. Our 4 losses, that's been the telltale story of those 4 losses, is that we've always been in the game until that last possession. Whether it be against you and I, we had the opportunity to win it, or right there we had the opportunity to get the onside. It stinks.
How are you guys trying to piece it together offensively today without some key parts in there? How did you think you guys were able to do?
You know, I thought we did pretty well, honestly. I thought, you know, we kind of stalled out in the passing game at the beginning, and kind of found that there at the end. But you know, I think just always can trust 15 back there, and then Pop Jones came in and did a great job today. And then we had a couple packages in where I got to carry the ball a little bit today, so just kind of spreading the ball around like we have been the whole season. It worked well for us, I thought. And I thought we put together a good offensive game.
Knowing that this team couldn't afford a loss to continue its playoff hopes, to have this happen today, what now can you guys play for, knowing that that's no longer a possibility?
Well, I wouldn't say it's, completely out of the question. I'm sure it's a very, very small percentage. We've seen you and I get in at 6-5 before with some quality wins and some quality, if you will, losses. So, I think with what we put on the field, minus that first game of the season, I think it's obvious that we can compete with any of those teams in the top 5, whoever may be. So I think as long as we go out next week with the right mindset, just putting it all on the field again and putting our best effort out on that, in between those white lines, and going there and putting a good product at Youngstown State, I think we have all the best possibilities in front of us.
But to know that the fate of the postseason won't be in your hands, how disappointing is that?
Definitely sucks. Definitely sucks. I know 2019 we were 7-5. Thought we had an FBS win. Thought we had a chance, and we didn't make it. So that was difficult. So not having a concrete knowledge of us being able to make it, it stings.
Look back on the game after you scored and they went ahead, and then you had the big hit and the kickoff, and it looks like they're going to start from deep, and then those 2 consecutive penalties kind of start them on the way to a touchdown drive. How big was that sequence?
Definitely was that's penalties change the flow of the game. You can argue. We had all the momentum right there, and then we kind of just nulled it with those 2 penalties. So it's definitely something to learn from.
The offense kind of struggled at times in this game, but the defense seemed to pick you guys up a lot. You had several 3-and-outs in this game and kept the score low. How about them?
Absolutely. Credit to those guys. They're like one of the best defenses in the country, in my opinion. They always put it all on the line. All those guys. We play a lot of guys on defense, and they all stepped up today and played really well.
And how crucial was that 1st and goal, you guys getting the field goal there in the first half, and then that ends up being maybe the difference in this game, not converting on that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's always crucial, but at the time, it's good to come away with points right there. That's still a win-win kind of situation where you want to finish the half well. If we don't score there at all, that's a huge loss there because they get the ball coming out the start of the second half. So, I thought we really put together a good middle 8 minutes there. We scoring with the 3 points and then the defense getting a stop and scoring there to start the second half. So I thought we did a really good job there. Obviously we'd love to have the 7 points at the end of the half, but yeah, you can't really dwell on that.
What do you feel the biggest difference was considering, you guys at one point, like you said, you were ahead. They kind of came back. The second half maybe got away from you. What was the biggest difference between the first and second half?
I don't know. I think they found a little bit more success in the run game there for a period. That might be maybe the difference. I couldn't really tell you why or how, but I really felt like we physically matched up with them very well all day on both sides of the ball. And, I think it just comes down to some crucial 5 or 6 plays in the game that really changed it.
What coach tell you guys in the locker room?
And, just got to keep our heads up and keep the right mindset. We had a team, we're going next week to play Youngstown State, and they came in here last year. We had all we wanted in front of us, and they had nothing to play for, and they kind of put it to us. So having that kind of in our mouth, the bad taste in our mouth, it's a big game for us.
You had a big play in the first half with a sack, and it seemed like it started to change the momentum for you guys a little bit. What were you thinking at that point after you got this sack? You kind of feel like this might be a play that can help give your team a boost?
Yeah, most definitely. Just feeding off that energy, helping the defense as much as I can, and just giving the team some momentum so we can feed off of it. And actually, we got a 3-and-out that drive, set the offense up for a score.
Looking back on this game, you guys had scored, taken the lead, had the big hit in the kickoff return, pinned them back, and then those 30 yards and penalties.
Yeah.
How big was that sequence as it turned out?
Yeah, actually, we fed off the momentum of the big hit. We didn't know that it was going to be a targeting or anything like that. Lewis got kicked out the game, but we were still kind of trying to feed off that momentum. Those penalties did give those boys 30 yards, so it was kind of like a win-lose situation. We was amped up about the hit, but then with the 30 yards, it put them in good field position. So.
And then obviously, looking back on it too, they convert to 2 3rd and longs in that drive too. How nice would it have been for you guys to be able to get off the field in that spot?
Yeah, that's another thing. Key emphasis at practice is get off the field on 3rd down. So those 3rd downs, completions really hurt us. So yeah.
Knowing what you guys knew coming into today's game, and to know that you couldn't afford another loss.
Yeah.
In terms of postseason hopes, Where does this put this team now?
We still got our heads high. You know, it's kind of sad, you know, but with a small chance of trying to make it to the playoffs, or a very, very small opportunity. But, you know, we still got one more game left. You know, that's what we focus on right now. So that's what it is.
Was this one of those games you look back on and say, man, it was right in front of us and it kind of got away?
Most definitely. Being a senior, this is one of my last games here as a Saluki, so definitely a game that I'll remember for the rest of my life. Definitely. Just very emotional. Yeah, sad loss. So.
And to know that the fate of the postseason won't be in your hands regardless of what happens next week, where last year it was, how much does that sting?
Yeah, it stings a lot. It stings a lot.
What did the coach say anything about that, or you guys spoke?
Well, coach just told us that we got a small chance to making it, but he's definitely a guy that just focus on the next game. So that's what we're gonna do. Just gonna focus on that next game and pray for the best.